Peace, Chem family. Welcome to Self-Care Sessions with BaNAuset. I am BaNAuset, and this is our weekly community discussion on all things African holistic health. As you come in, wave. Let us know where you are joining us from. Today we're going to be talking about how to banish demonic activity. Okay? We're a little bit early this week. I had some other plans today, so we're meeting just an hour earlier. Okay. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. Okay. Again, my name is BaNauset. I'm a licensed registered nurse. I'm also a certified wellness coach and an energy healer. I primarily work with Black men and women with holistic. Let me start again. I primarily work with Black men and women to heal trauma holistically through African holistic health. Okay. My main healing modalities that I have as a service is language, energy healing, nutrition, and sacred movement. Okay. This February, we have a course on Kemetic Reiki coming up. It is an energy healing course. And we have an interest class, an interest meeting this Thursday on January 25th. So if you would like to sign up for the interest meeting, go ahead and click the link in my bio if you're watching me on Instagram. And if you are seeing this later in the recording on YouTube, the link will be in the comments section on YouTube, okay? It will be pinned to the comments. So welcome everyone who is joining. So today we're talking about something that I have not talked about before. And before we start, actually, I want to say hi to all of the new subscribers or followers, whatever you call them, on Instagram. You know, it's different lingo for different apps. We have 10,000 new followers on Instagram. So thank you all for growing our community to 10,000 people. If you're watching me on YouTube, go ahead and follow me on Instagram if you are not on Instagram yet, okay? I see all of you all coming in. Hannibal Animal. I am Phoenicia, blissfully evolving. Peace and wellness to you, Zanette. Okay, so let's get into today's topic, how to banish demonic activity. Now, I am going to be speaking on this particular topic from a different vantage point. It's something that you have not heard before, I'm quite sure, because I've seen videos on this. And the reason why I'm speaking on this topic is because it's not frequent, but it does happen from time to time that I'll get certain people who will ask me about certain issues they've had with demonic activity and how to banish demonic activity. Okay. Sometimes it's a DM that I get out of nowhere. And usually it's a little off, it's a little weird. Or sometimes when I'm vending, especially if it's at festivals or someplace out in public, I'll get people who are not really familiar with this type of work and they're not sure about what it is that I do. And they'll ask me about demonic activity and how to get rid of it. Okay? So first I want to say that those who may be dealing with demonic activity, it's not what you think it is. Okay? It's not what you think it is. And we're going to talk about that today. I don't deal with potions. I don't deal with fake spells. I don't deal with, fake spell work, any of that stuff. What I do is, as an energy healer, as an energy worker, I understand the science of energy. I understand how to use energy and how to manipulate energy. And that is what I teach. Okay? That is where I can assist. So, that's where we'll start today. Okay? So first, let's start off with what is energy. Okay. Energy is the unseen force that exists in all living things. Okay. It is the unseen force that exists in all living things. It is all around us. It cannot be created or destroyed. It flows through us and around us. Okay. For those of us human beings, we have what is called internal vital energy. And different cultures describe this internal vital energy as in different words or different terms. So in Swahili, you have the term moyo. In Chinese, you have the term chi. In Japanese, you have the term ki. And in the Kemetic tradition, you have the term sekhem, okay, sekhem, which also corresponds with power. So it's like your internal vital power. In India, you have the word prana, okay? So that's what energy is. Energy can be measured, and it's measured in terms of frequency. Okay, peace to you, Easy E9. Hello. Okay. You can also see the vibration of energy in things like colors and symbols. Okay. Also, music, sound vibrates on a certain frequency. So energy can be measured. I'm saying this because sometimes I get people who come through with their opinions and they think that their opinions are more important than factual information. Energy is a science. You are either aware of it, okay, or you are ignorant of how energy works. But it's a science where your opinion does not apply. Okay, you either understand it and know how to manipulate it, or you don't. So that's why I'm talking about it in terms of science. Energy can be measured. Okay, so in that case, what is a demon? What is a demon? A demon is a low vibrational entity. That's what a demon is. A low vibrational entity, meaning it can be a spirit that has passed on, or it can be a collection of energy that is vibrating on a very, very low frequency. In my book, High Vibration Nutrition, I talk about the frequency of certain thoughts and emotions. And there are certain thoughts and emotions that vibrate on a very high frequency. So for example, love, passion, gratitude, okay, compassion, empathy. All of these things vibrate on a very, very high frequency. And there are certain entities or beings that hold that high frequency because those are emotions and thoughts that they hold on a regular basis. So if you're a person who is consistently over years, over your lifetime, vibrating on that frequency, you would be a high vibrational being or entity. Well, people talk about angels and things like that. Okay. And then you have lower vibrational thoughts and feelings, such as shame and guilt and fear and anger and rage. Okay? Those are very low vibrational emotions and thoughts. Okay? Despair, envy. Okay? So in order to encounter demonic activity in the first place, you have to be vibrating on the same frequency as demonic activity, because it's a very, very low frequency. That means you either have to be in a space where you are consistently thinking on a low vibration, feeling on a low vibration, or you are in a space, a physical space or environment that has a very low vibration. For example, there are places that are haunted, that we know as haunted houses, or even places like plantations. And they are haunted because they hold a lot of low vibrational energy. A lot of fear, a lot of violence, and things like that happen in those spaces. Even certain neighborhoods hold a very low vibration. Certain neighborhoods that we will call the hood hold a low vibration. Why? Because there's a lot of low vibrational activities going on there. There's a lot of stealing, a lot of scamming, a lot of drug activity, a lot of violence, okay? A lot of people being unalived, okay? So those places tend to hold a low vibrational energy, okay? And this is kind of common sense, but the thing is, it's more common sense to people who are very intuitive than to those who are spiritually deaf, dumb, and blind, which is a lot of us. A lot of people are tapped out and tuned out because of the fact that we're not eating correctly. We're not connected to nature the way that we would be if we were living in a natural environment, in our indigenous environment. So a lot of people are tuned out of what is our natural way of seeing things. And these things sound very odd. But for those who are quite intuitive, this is normal. This is common sense. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go through 4 ways to banish demonic activity. So I hope you all understand what I mean by demonic activity now, or low vibrational energy. If you understand what I'm talking about, put a 1 in the chat. And if it still sounds a little bit off to you, put a 2 in the chat. I'm gonna wait on y'all so I know where to go. Peace, Akurti. Peace, Seymour. Peace, blissfully evolving. Thank you for that. Who is Liek? Okay. So y'all understand what I'm saying. Great. So the first way that you want to banish demonic activity, if you feel this is something that you're experiencing, is to avoid low vibrational environments. Avoid low vibrational environments. As I said at the top of this talk, it's not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is. So for example, you don't want to spend a lot of time in places like bars, in places where there's a lot of sexual deviance, where there is a lot of drug activity, where people are doing things where they're harming other people, okay? Where there's a lot of violence, where there's scheming and scamming and thugging and drugging, okay? Where there's a lot of drinking, okay? Drug use. Anytime you're in environments like that, you are bound to come up against bad luck. And we kind of know this already. You know, terrible things usually happen during certain times of the night. Most violent crimes occur between the hours of 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Okay? And they usually occur in those types of places. You don't want to find yourself in a crack house and then be talking about how you are dealing with demons. You in the wrong place. Avoid low vibrational environments. You don't want to be in a home where there's a lot of violence happening, because you are bound to come across what people think is, or what people are calling, demonic activity. Okay? So the second thing that you want to do to avoid or to banish demonic activity is to avoid low vibrational people. Avoid low vibrational people. Okay? There's a saying that you want to avoid the unhappy and the unlucky, because these types of people love drama and they draw negativity to themselves. They draw negativity to themselves because they feed off of it. So I'll tell you, for example, I have a family member who fits this description. Okay? This is a person who, even as a child, I was very nervous around, and I was very fearful around this person. Okay? I watched her my whole life abuse her children. Watched her abuse her children. I watched her get into fights with people on a regular basis. I watched her scheme and scam and lie. Is a person who has a very mean spirit. Okay? She's a person who will insult you for no reason. Just a very low vibrational person. Her spirit vibrates on a very low frequency. A very envious and jealous person. And sometimes we think that that is not a big deal until you really get entangled with these types of people. Now, this particular family member, people have actually passed away dealing with her, getting entangled with her, including one of her own children. Including one of her own children. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. A lot of y'all think y'all are dealing with demons, and you're going to these botanicas and these spell workers and root workers to mix up some potions and lotions for you to get rid of stuff, when you are the one causing your own problem, because you are in the wrong places and you're dealing with the wrong people. There are certain types of people who draw negative energy to them because they think on a very low or negative frequency. They are constantly doing negative things to other people, messing people over, and they draw bad luck to them. So as in the family member that I just described and talked about, there's several people who have lost their life around her. Like, death seems to follow this person. And when I see her at family gatherings, I avoid her completely. I can't even force myself to have a conversation with her for longer than a few seconds. If somebody else is in the room, I'll engage with the other person, but I never really, I feel it's almost like something is repelling me from talking to her, because I know the type of person she is. I've seen her, and everybody else don't seem to see it that way. You know, she's a funny person. She's charming, which a lot of people who like drama, a lot of people who are on that low vibrational energy, they got to draw you in some type of way. So a lot of time they are charming and funny, but I see through all of that. And if you don't have a good spirit, you have bad character, you got bad vibes, I don't want no parts of you. I don't want no parts of you. So I've never felt comfortable around this person. Never. So that's the second way that you can banish demonic activity is avoiding low vibrational people. And if you don't know what I mean by low vibrational people, I have a video on this topic on my channel called Signs of Low Vibrational People. You can go ahead and watch that after you watch this one. Okay. So the third thing you want to do to banish demonic activity, okay, is you want to develop mastery over your own thoughts and emotions. Let me see what Medi and Ptah said. I love that name, Medi and Ptah. So true. They feed off of our lovely energy. Em Hotep, Ankh Uja Seneb, Hemet Nesut Waret. Dua. Medu Nefer. Medu Nefer. Okay. Yes. So you want to develop mastery over your own thoughts and emotions. And I say this again because a lot of people do not understand what demonic activity is. A lot of people draw negativity to themselves because they think on a negative frequency. They're always thinking negative thoughts. They have a lot of shame. They have low self-esteem. They have a lot of envy and jealousy towards other people, and they have not mastered that energy. They haven't mastered that energy. And they don't even realize that the problems they're experiencing are a result of themselves. They think it's something outside of themselves, which is what religion teaches us. Religion has made us really spiritually stupid because you think that everything is outside of you. If something good is going on, it's because some white man in the sky made it happen. And if something bad is going on, it's because of some demon with horns. That's not how things work. That's not how things work. You are a divine spiritual being having a divine human experience, and you must learn to master your own spiritual energies. A lot of us call negative things into our lives and we don't even see it. I'll tell you, I was dealing with someone, a friend, who asked me for assistance. Actually, I use the term friend loosely, so let me not even go there. This was someone I met at the gym, okay? An associate. And I decided to help this person with doing a Reiki session. And as she begins to tell me what her issue is or what she's been going through, I'm listening to all the different ways in which she's letting me know that she's caused her own problem. The girl is causing her own problem. And I'm like, why does she not hear what she's saying? Am I the only one who hears this? Like, why does she not hear this? But that's what I'm talking about when I say a lot of us are not intuitive. We spiritually deaf, dumb, and blind. You understand? And so this person is going to the Botanica and speaking to certain root work people. And there you go. Mary and Ptah, accountability. There you go. That's exactly what it is. So they're getting all of these, potions and, Florida water. And it's not that these things are not helpful in spiritual work. They are, but you must understand how energy works. You must understand how energy works, and you must be able to see the ways in which you're contributing to your own problem. And some people are lazy. Some people are spiritually lazy. They literally just want you to mix up something for them. They want to say a few words and poof, my problem is supposed to be gone. In Jamaica, we have a saying, nothing no gossa. Nothing no gossa. It doesn't work like that. Okay? There's a thing called cause and effect that a lot of people just do not see. They're very blind to. You understand? So that's the third way to banish demons, is you have to learn how to master your own thoughts and emotions. And you do that through meditation. You do that through sacred movement. You do that through prayer work, through mantras. And this is what I teach in my courses. Through shadow work. Thank you, Blissfully Evolving. Through shadow work. So when I speak about certain things on my videos and I'm saying do the work, people are like, what is the work? I be telling y'all what's the work. I'm telling y'all what is the work. Everything that I share, I don't share for no reason. You understand? Everything I share is for you to click and watch straight through. It's gems the whole way through. I promise you. You understand? And so even in this person that I'm speaking of, when I invited her to learn how to do this, she didn't want to follow through. She didn't want to do the work on herself. People are so used to quick fixes, and it doesn't work like that. And we are moving into a time where people are really going to have major crashes in their life, because they're going to see firsthand that authenticity, showing up as your authentic self and really putting in the work, is what's going to reap the biggest rewards. We've been used to the old world for such a long time, where we see people do the wrong things and get ahead, or people put in a little bit of energy and get ahead, and that time is dying out. That's gone. It's past. We're moving in a whole different dimension. We're vibrating higher, 5D and above. Okay, so you have to learn how to master your own spiritual energies. Okay. And again, if you want to learn how to do this, the Kemetic Reiki course is the best course for you. It is the best course for you to take that I have available. And we have an interest meeting this Thursday, January 25th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to join, the link is in my bio on Instagram, and it will be pinned to the comment section in this video on YouTube. Okay? Okay. So the fourth thing, and this is the most important. This is the most important. You want to atone for the things that you have done to harm other people. Let me say that again. You want to atone for the things you have done to harm other people. A lot of people think that they get away with things just because their own energy returning to them doesn't hit them right away. You never get away with anything. Ma'at is universal law. You can call it whatever you want. There's many different ways to describe this particular universal law that I'm speaking of. People call it karma. You can call it cause and effect. The Kemetic term would be Ma'at. And I'll describe what Ma'at is in a minute. Even if you want to be scientific about it, because you'll hear people say, well, I don't believe in karma. It doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. It affects you the same way. That's what universal law is. Gravity is a universal law. So you can get on top of a tall building and jump off talking about you don't believe in gravity, and you still gonna hit the ground the same way. So for those of you who say you don't believe in karma, it does not matter whether you believe in it or not. Even if you want to get scientific with it. In quantum physics, they tell you that all energy that is exerted returns to its source with equal and opposite force. Now, what does that sound like? Karma. It's the same thing described in different ways. Exactly. Blissfully evolving. Many names, same thing. It's a universal law. It does not matter whether you believe in it or not. It's still going to affect you the same way. You still going to hit the ground the same way. Okay? So you have to atone for the things you have done to harm other people. One thing about me, I never worry about demonic activity. Why? Because I don't trouble people. I don't trouble people. I have been known for this since a child. And this is funny because I was just having this conversation with my friend and her daughter and one of her students yesterday. And her daughter was talking about how she's never been in a fight before. And I said, I've never been in a fight. Growing up in school, I never got into a fight, never had to fight. In fact, if anyone was bothering me, people would fight for me because I was such a quiet kid. I was such a nice kid. Like, I never bothered anybody. So if there was an issue, people knew, you bothering this girl. Like, why are you bothering this girl? She don't bother nobody. So people would fight for me. I really never had to fight growing up. You understand? But when you always messing people over, you scamming people, you steal from people, you do people dirt, you always have to be looking over your shoulder. When you are constantly giving, you are a kind person, you are a loving person, you are a grateful person, you are a thankful person, you are a peaceful person, you vibrate on a much higher frequency. Demons can't box with me. There's no reason for me to be looking over my shoulder for no demons. You can't box with me. You can't even see me. I'm vibrating too high. You can't see me. So I don't worry about that. Certain type of people are always worried about that because they know they always doing people dirt. And they don't make atonement for it. They don't do the Ma'ati thing. There's no reciprocity or balancing of the scales. Maria Pata says exactly, having a pure, light heart is the key. Reciprocity. Dua. Exactly. Blissfully Evolving says, I love that. They can't box with me. Facts. Facts. So, you can't go around mistreating people and expect for good things to happen to you. So for example, I've had people come to me talking about how there's somebody who they know who died who's haunting them in their house. What did you do to this person? Why they will be haunting you? If this was someone who you knew and loved, when they pass on, our loved ones are not going to scare us by coming to us as spirit. They may come around as a protective force for us, but they're not going to come around haunting us. What did you do? Why is that person haunting you in your house? Are you the one who killed them? That's what I'm thinking about. Why would you have demons following you? Exactly. Naturally, Asia, that karma energy. There's a reason they following you. I was watching today also, there was a video on YouTube that came from TikTok, and it was a psychiatric nurse. And she was talking about her experience with an older lady. She called the lady Betty. That's not her name, but that was her name for the video, Betty. And she was saying how Betty started having these episodes where she was fighting with someone, fighting with a spirit. And she was saying how she killed this girl. It was somebody that she killed. Guess she thought she got away with it. And it seemed like the spirit was haunting her. Whether it is the energy of what you did that's haunting you, or the actual spirit of the person who is passed on that's haunting you, the energy is there. Even if you think you got away with something, your body still knows that you did that. Somewhere in your mind, somewhere in your body, the memory of what you did is there. It exists. It doesn't go away. You can't just erase it. Even if nobody else ever finds out, your body knows that you did that. So she was boxing with this girl and ended up having a massive heart attack and passed away. So a lot of people who come to me talking about they're dealing with demonic activity, they're dealing with their own demons. It's their own demons, things they did to other people that they can't get away from because they never atoned for their wrongdoings against others. Okay? So in the Kemetic tradition, ancient African people, we had a foundation, a spiritual science. Okay? A spiritual science. And the foundation of that is Maat. Maat is personified as a woman with wings and an ostrich feather on her head. And in the story of the afterlife, the ostrich feather was weighed against the heart. The heart had to be lighter than a feather in order for you to ascend, in order for your spirit to ascend. Which means you needed to be able to let go of things. You couldn't have too many things on your heart. You can't be doing people wrong over and over and ascend spiritually. Your soul becomes very dense. And that's what I'm talking about when I say high vibrational and low vibrational. You're weighed down with guilt, with pain, with fear, looking over your shoulder all the time, guilt, anger, rage. All of those things grow and grow and grow, and it weighs you down. So there are 7 virtues of Ma'at. You have truth. You have justice, order, reciprocity, balance, harmony, and propriety, right thinking, right behavior. Okay? In Kemetic Reiki, we talk about how to live in Ma'at. We talk about that in depth. Sapphire Mystic says, demons are aspects of the brain. You don't banish them. We seal or unseal them. I like that. I like that. That's very true. I like the way that you put that. Because all of these things are aspects of ourselves. Like when I say people who vibrate, when I talk about high vibrational and low vibrational, these are all aspects of us. And this is why you have to learn what energy is and how to master it, because everyone experiences these dense emotions as well. I experience jealousy, I experience anger, I experience rage. But when you understand energy, you learn how to transmute that. You don't stay there. There are certain types of people who find themselves in a low vibration consistently because they allow that energy to grow and fester. They allow it to grow. They feed it. They feed it. So for example, if you were a person who steals, right? If you are a thief, that's an energy that you had to cultivate. That's an energy that you had to cultivate. And most people who are adult thieves, they've been thieves as children. They had a life of thievery. They started off as a little bitty thing, lying and getting away with it, taking things that they weren't supposed to take and getting away with it. And as they do that and get away with it, what they think, they continue doing it, and the energy accumulates and gets bigger and bigger. Then they start doing bigger thefts. Then they start stealing things from the teacher at school. They go to work and they steal out the cash register. until eventually this is a person who's committing a bank robbery. You see somebody get to the point where they're doing big robberies and all type of big scams. They're stealing hundreds and thousands of dollars. That person has had a lifetime of bad character. You did not start out like that. You didn't start out like that. It was a demon that you fed. It was something that you fed. And there's a story, right? I'm going to veggie back on what this sister, or no, sorry, I just assumed because of that name. Sapphire Mystic said. I'm going to veggie back on that. There's a story of the two wolves, right? And there's a young child who asked his grandfather, I'm paraphrasing this and I hope I get it somewhere in the ballpark, who asked his grandfather about these two wolves. One is good and the other is bad. And the grandchild says, well, Granddad, which one is the most powerful? Which one wins? And the grandfather says, whichever one you feed. Whichever one you feed is the one that wins. So as you said that demons are aspects of the brain, that you don't banish them, you either seal or unseal them. It's one that you grow by feeding it, or one that you starve by not giving any energy to it. So for example, everybody in this world has stolen at some point, whether it's a piece of candy out your mama's purse or something. You stole something, but that doesn't necessarily make you a thief, right? You may have done that in that moment. It may have been for survival reasons or something like that. And you did it, but you didn't continue to feed that energy because you knew that wasn't who you wanted to be. That's not who you were. Maybe you didn't like that energy. You're like, I don't want to be a thief. Okay. Or you felt like this was wrong. So you starved that. You sealed that part off. Right? And then there are other people who feed that by doing it over and over and over and over, and it builds and it gets bigger. And this is when people get into things that they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to get out of it. The demon has become so big and so powerful because you fed it. That's why it's winning. You fed it. So, Sapphire Mystic. I don't know what these things are that you're referring to. So, Solemns, all knowledge found in the Goetia. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Maybe you can inform me in the comments, okay? Seymour says, let it go. Naturally, Asia says, gotta work in that shadow and light side by side, finding balance. Yes, you have to work with the shadow aspects of yourself. You have to. I'll hear people all the time try to deny their shadow selves. Oh, I'm not jealous. I don't ever get jealous of anyone. Lies. I'm not angry. I never get angry. Lies. You suppress it and you hide it. Lies. Okay. Seymour, I see you like the term veggie back. Yes. We're vegetarians and vegans over here. Okay. Oh, okay. You said Kind Solemns, the Goetia, it's a book. Okay. Dua, thank you for sharing that. Okay. So, living in Ma'at means that you make amends and you atone for the ways in which you have hurt or harmed other people. And the first thing that you do, if this is you, if you've hurt and you've harmed other people and you've not atoned for it, the first thing you need to do is you have to admit what you have done. You have to admit what you've done. And this seems like the hardest part for some people. A lot of people don't know how to admit when they're wrong. And I think it's because it's an ego thing. You know, people have a lot of shame. And this is where shadow work comes in again. Like I said, I've said this many times. I've done shadow work since I was a child. And I did it specifically because I never wanted to be someone who was afraid to see who I am. I never wanted to be afraid to see who I am. I've never been afraid to see the worst parts of myself. If I can't admit it to nobody else, I can look myself in the mirror and say that's what I did. That's why I don't have to run from nobody. I can look myself in the mirror and say I did it. And either I did it and I can say I was wrong for that, or I can say I did it and I don't take it back. I did it for a reason, whatever it was. I think that was the best decision for me. A lot of people can't do that. They can't look themselves in the mirror and admit what they've done. And that's the first step in atoning for the ways in which you've treated other people. And in banishing some of those demons that you think are outside of you and they're not. Okay? The other thing is you have to apologize. You have to apologize for what you've done. Apologize to the person that you've hurt or people you've hurt. Okay? You also need to vow to never do the behavior again. An apology without changed behavior is meaningless. A lot of people think it means something to just say, I'm sorry, but you're still doing the same thing that you did that hurt the person. You haven't changed your behavior at all. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Okay? And the last thing that you need to do is make reparations to the other person, the person that you have hurt, the person or people that you have hurt, in order to make them whole. If you scam somebody out of $10,000, you need to pay the person back. That's why they have such a thing in the law called restitution. You have to make the person whole. It's not enough to come with your long face talking about, I'm sorry. I'm still out of $10,000 in emotional distress because of how you hurt me. You have to make me whole again. And until you do that, them demons will keep following you. Because you fed them. You fed them. They're yours. And you own them. Until you seal them off, like our friend here, Sapphire Mystic, says. Till you have sealed them off. That's how you banish demons. Okay, so let me read some of y'all comments. Okay. Rabia Rochelle says, don't usually join lives, however I was called to join. Well, thank you for being here. She says, I needed to hear this. I'm glad you got what you needed. Dua. Naturally Asia says, some people don't like truth, whether it's coming from self or others. That is a fact. That is a fact. I don't know why that hit different when you said that, whether it's coming from self or others. That is true. Some people don't even want to hear the truth from themselves. That's why shadow work is scary. And Rabia says, what if you admitted, apologized, and you can't forgive yourself, however they forgive you? That's where the last part comes in. You have to repair the person. You have to make reparations for whatever you did. Once you balance the scales, there's no more guilt to be had. If you stole something from somebody and you gave it back to them, why would you still feel guilty? Why would you still feel guilty? And, well, the thing is, there are certain things that you can't completely make the person whole. For example, if you've taken a life, you can't bring another person back. That doesn't mean that you don't do what is in your power to give restitution to the person you hurt. Because you may be able to use the lessons from that death to affect many other people's lives and save people from death. So even though you can't bring that person back, you've saved lives. A lot of people leave that part out. They leave out the part of restitution and reparations to who they've hurt. They think it's enough to say sorry, and it's not. Okay. Blissfully Evolving says, yes, show contrition. Dua. If anyone wants to join the live, I'm inviting you all to come on now. If you want to join and speak with me or ask me a question or just say whatever's on your mind in regards to the conversation, you can join now. I've been telling y'all for the last few lives that I'm going to open it up. And last time we tried it, it did not work. So I'm saying it now, okay? Sapphire Mystic says it means they are the real problem. Yes. And a lot of people are, and they don't know it. They don't know it, and they don't know it because they don't want to be honest with themselves. Like I was telling y'all about the example earlier with the girl that I met at the gym, who I'm listening to this girl tell me about the ways in which she's causing her own problem. And I'm like, why do you not hear this? You're saying it out your own mouth and you don't hear it. She says it hits different here too, even from self. Okay, I'm sorry, you might have to rewrite that. I'm not sure what you meant to say here. Okay, I think it's that part. I'm not sure what I can give back. Maybe you need to ask the person. You may need to ask the person what you can do. Or you may need to pray about it. Pray and meditate about it. And if it's something that you really need guidance on and you want a suggestion from me personally, you all can speak with me. You could just book me at kemeticwellness.com and I will help guide you through it. Okay? But you may need to sit in meditation and think about what you did to the other person, the ways that it affected them, and what could you do to offer that person restitution. Or even if it is not directly to that person, because sometimes you've caused such a pain within that person that speaking to them directly isn't necessarily going to make things right, but it's something that you give to the world to make the energy whole. And the thing is, even if you do not do it yourself, the universe will balance the scales for you. Nobody gets away from this. Nobody gets away from their own deeds. As I said earlier, Ma'at is universal law. You either do Ma'at or Ma'at will be done for you. The scales will be balanced, period. Okay. Accountability. Correct. Okay. So, that is what I have for you all today. Okay, that's the last bit of this conversation, since nobody's coming on video today. I was looking forward to seeing somebody's face today, but I appreciate your comments and your feedback, and thank you all for being here with me and for getting our community to 10,000 on Instagram. I feel so proud. I feel so proud of us. So I'll leave this up as I always do. I'll leave this up for 72 hours on Instagram, and then you can rewatch the full video on YouTube. Okay, it'll be on YouTube, and the link to my YouTube is in my bio. Sapphire Mystic says, you're beautiful, physically and energetic. Thank you. Thank you. I see you, Seymour. I see you, Ikurti. Medunefersenet Dua. Naturally Asia, thanks for your wisdom and love. Thank you. Dua, blissfully evolving. Dua. Medium Pata, dua to you as well. Dua, it's an honor and I'm grateful for your insight and knowledge. Thank you all for being here. Oh, I got a video request. Let's see if it works now. Okay. Let's try it out before I head out of here. I accepted your request, Rabia. I hope it works. It works.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
I'm excellent. I'm excellent.
Um, so I usually don't even, like I said, I don't usually join lives.
Mm-hmm.
However, the things that you were speaking of really resonated with me. Um, I'm not sure when I started following you. I'm not on Instagram a lot, but it just popped up. You know how sometimes it says join this live and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
girl.
So I'm actually cooking dinner, but I wanted to, I guess, I have questions for you. It's not really specifically to the topic that you were speaking
Mm-hmm.
of, um, but I must have seen a post that I resonated with before to make me follow you. So I wanted to know, you guys were talking about, is it like a religion or a lifestyle that you're talking about, or like where are these teachings that you are speaking of from?
Well, I'm a holistic practitioner, and I am also a priestess in the Kemetic tradition. So all of my teachings in holistic health are based in ancient African medicine. So it's an ancestral teaching. The purpose of what I'm doing, all of my work, is really to teach my community, my people, how to heal ourselves naturally through our culture. Because much of what we are experiencing collectively, whether it's chronic illness, mental illness, spiritual problems, is rooted in um, us being disconnected from our culture. And so I didn't even know that that's what we needed until I went through my own healing. When I started eating natural foods and healing my own self through yoga. And I met my first teacher in the tradition. His name is Mfundishi Jehutimis, and he was the first holistic healer I came across. And I told him, I love the art of healing. I'm a nurse by trade. I told him, I love this. And I want to teach my community how to heal themselves. But I don't want to do it in a clinical setting. I just don't feel like that's the correct way for me to do it. I don't believe in what they're talking about and how they're doing things. And long story short, I had a session with him. It was a reading with him and a consultation. And he's the one who let me know all those things that you're doing, the yoga, the natural foods, it's great. But when we start doing those things, we can get tapped into somebody else's culture. We usually get into the Indian and the Asian, which is cool. You know, it's relaxing, it's helpful, but you need your culture. You need your culture. And it wasn't until I started studying our culture, meaning who African people were before colonization, that it opened up a whole new dimension for me. And it was the healing that I did not know I needed. And that's why I talk about certain topics in a way that is stuff that we're all going through, instead of going straight to the comedic information, because a lot of people don't understand that they need it or why they need it.
Right.
So,
So yes, I really resonate with everything you said actually. So like probably like a year ago I started to I was going through a very traumatic thing in my life, and I'm like was being called to get closer to God, but I felt like I was really struggling with mental illness.
mhm,
But I had to realize it wasn't necessarily I guess the clinical type of mental illness. It
mhm,
was really like trauma stacked on top of trauma that would make my it was literally like breaking down my body.
yes,
And I always felt like I'm sure you guys heard of like the black sheep of the family, right?
mhm,
So I always felt like that, and I always felt like I was so different. Like even when it comes down to the music I listen to a lot of African Nigerian music,
mhm.
and I call myself African, but my family kind of like push it like, oh, you don't know what they're
They don't like
saying, you're not
that.
African, and yes, they don't really like that.
Mhm,
And I'm like, well, like a guy when I was doing Lyft before, um we were talking about that, and he was like, when people ask me am I African, I just tell them I'm supposed to be. Like, well, no, he said, when people ask me, am I from Africa? And I say, I'm supposed to
Hmm.
be. And I was like, yes, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
that's where I feel like, it's like your spirit knows where you
Right.
come from. And it will always fight to get back to where it originally comes from. Like, even when it comes to, like, when people ask me like my religion, I tell them that I don't really, um I don't put myself in a box when it comes to religion, but I tell them that I practice African spirituality and African practices.
Hmm.
However, sometimes it's hard, especially with it being a trend now,
Hmm.
to get actual great information. And there's some people that I do follow on Instagram that has great information, and I'm sure that's why I started to follow you.
Hmm.
And so yeah, like even when you talk about like holistic health and stuff like that, like I feel like I have to go slow with myself. I have to pace myself so I don't get frustrated in a
Hmm.
process. But I do want to eventually like become just raw, just eating raw. And because I understand how when it comes to what you're eating and how your body is functioning
Yeah.
and how you are better connected with spirit, it all ties
Yes, it
into each other.
does.
Like I noticed, like when I'm eating better, I'm able to like. There was a time where I wasn't having dreams, and I'm like, this isn't like this shouldn't be normal. Like I'm not having any
Right.
dreams, so I
Right.
stopped smoking marijuana. I
That's what'll do it. That's the first thing I thought when you said that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it stops your dreaming.
It
Like
does
I'm
stop
like,
your dreaming.
yes, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, as soon as I stopped, I started having dreams almost every night.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm still very new. I'm still very like still learning. And I feel like even like 10 years from now I'm still gonna be accepting to learn everything because
Mm-hmm.
nobody knows everything, you know, and
Right.
some people could have hit that plateau or give themselves a cap, be like, oh, I just know it. Like, no, I'm so open to new information. And like what advice would you give a person that's trying to because I don't want to like because I don't know, I'm used to talking to my family about it, but they don't really resonate what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. But I honestly feel like it's so crazy how I can speak something or think something and then 5 seconds later it'll happen or I will see it and I'm like, am I freaking psychic? Like what is going on? Like,
Well,
but I'm just trying to like just better my
what's your
knowledge. But
question? What do you
I
want
want
to know? Like, what
to
is
know
your
what
question?
advice you have for me, like in a person that's trying to, um, I guess, learn more practices and do it the right way, and not just like I don't want to just go. I want to go off of I go off of my intention and what resonates with me. However, I want to know like where do I start because there's
Okay.
no
So,
really outlet for
so
me.
let me
I would say.
answer you. The best way to start is to have what I call a jegna. And in the Western tradition, they will call it a mentor, but we don't use that term, okay? Because that term has negative connotations. We use the term jegna, which is an Ethiopian term to describe someone who is on their spiritual path, who stood the test of time, and who can be somewhat of a guide to you. That's what we think we're saying when we use the term mentor, but we're not.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to find someone who resonates with you and a person who is verified in their practice, who is certified and verified in their practice. I'm not talking about YouTube gurus or Instagram gurus or TikTok gurus. I'm not talking about people who are just popular. They're people who are personalities and they're popular because they have a good mouth game. And then there
Mm-hmm.
are people who are qualified to speak on what they are speaking on and qualified to teach because they have been certified by people who are verified,
Okay, and how would
right?
I go about finding a person like that?
Right. So you want to get with organizations. So you have different temples. This is kind of something that it might be better for you to talk with me in a consultation,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll give you some a little bit of info. You want to get with organizations. For example, Queen of Four has an organization. Queen of Four is a priestess in the Kemetic tradition, and she is verified in her work. She is certified in her work, and she can certify others. You have my first teacher who I spoke about in Fundishi, who is verified. He's been a professor for, I think, going on 40 years in Afro-Kemetic studies. And he has certified many of the masters in our tradition. I have been certified by the masters of this tradition. I am a master Kemetic Reiki practitioner. I have been certified as a womb yoga dance practitioner by Queen of Four. I've been certified by Dr. Akua Gray as a natural health and wellness consultant. You want to go to people who have organizations and they are certified in what they are talking about, not just somebody who has a big following and a good mouth game.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to stick to people who are rooted in the culture. So their teachers are our great African scholars. You know, my teachers' teachers were the Dr. John Henrik Clark and Joseph Ben Yakinen and Malcolm X and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. You need to know those scholars, Sheikh Anta Diop, those who were our African scholars rooted in this tradition, who are teaching from an African-centered perspective. That's how you're going to get the most quality information possible.
Okay.
Okay. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the info.
You are very much welcome. Very much welcome. And thank you for coming on. You are my first person to come join me on my live.
I'm so shy. I'm just like, but I'm like, you know what? Go out there and just do it.
Yes.
Because sometimes I have so many questions, and when I, like you said, a lot of people, they are just popular, but I'm not. That's not the life that I'm trying to achieve popularity, but to help myself, and through myself I will help others. That's what I believe. So I do appreciate what you're doing. I'm so happy that you took a risk, because as an RN, and you know, working in Western medicine is like, sometimes that's like, why are you doing that?
Right.
Like a lot of I get so many side eyes. Like, you see, I have no hair. Like,
right.
I get so many side eyes for like the things that I believe in, the things that I would call myself like a truth seeker, because I'm just like looking, and I'm always questioning things. And a lot of times in the religions that are most popular, you're not allowed to question anything.
Right.
And I'm like, how would I learn anything?
And most of those who are scapegoats in their family, they are the truth seekers. I wanted to also highlight Medium BaNAuset, Professor James Smalls, and Queen Diambi. Thank you for mentioning those as well.
And you said this live will be up, so I could just go back and write the names down and stuff.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't think the comments show. The comments don't
okay,
show
but
in the
you
replay.
said it, so
I did read the names off. I did read the names off, so you can Google those names and find them.
Okay.
This will be up on Instagram for 72 hours, and then it'll be on YouTube. And what you spoke about in terms of being the scapegoat of your family, I have several videos on that topic as well. So if you look under my playlist about scapegoating and under my playlist about narcissistic abuse, you will find some things that will probably be helpful to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking your time out. Also.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining.
No problem. You guys have a good night. Thank you.
Night. Okay. If there is, I don't know how to end it, so I'm going to leave that to you, sis. Okay. If there's anyone else who wants to join, you have the opportunity to join now. Otherwise, we're going to say good night. Okay. Have a good night, love. Okay. Well, dua to everyone who stayed with me this far. And I will see you on our next self-care session with BaNAuset next Monday at 7 p.m. We'll be at our regular time next week. Okay? Peace.